Okay, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today to find out more about our draft community engagement and communication strategy, and to share your thoughts on how we can enhance how we communicate and engage you in shaping the decisions of Council. I'm Carly McLennan, your host for today, and I'm Council's Community Engagement Coordinator. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land I'm working on today, the Gadigal and Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation. The people of the Eora Nation, their spirits and ancestors will remain with our waterways and the land, our Mother Earth. I will share my contact details at the end of the presentation, so you can get in touch with me following the webinar if you have any further questions or feedback. All right, so we're here today, as I said, to talk about Council's draft Bayside community engagement and communication strategy. So I guess we'll start with some definitions. So Council defines community engagement as engagement that involves the community in problem solving or decision making and uses community input to make better decisions. It's a planned process with the specific purpose of working across communities and stakeholders to shape the decisions or actions of Council in relation to a problem, opportunity, or outcome. The definition of community is defining individuals and groups of people, stakeholders, interest groups, and citizen groups. A community may be defined by their geographic location, so a community of place, a community of similar interest, which is a community of practice, or a community of affiliation or identity, such as industry or a sporting club. And the word stakeholder defines individuals, groups of individuals, organisations, or a political entity with a specific stake in the outcome of a decision or to the impact of a policy, project, or proposition of Council. Okay, so the draft strategy includes how and when Council will engage the community in its decision-making processes, what level of influence the community will have in the types of decisions made by Council, and the methods that will be used, and at what stages of the process the engagement will occur. It also includes the channels of communication that will be used and how key stakeholders will be defined and the key information that is relevant to the matter being considered. I guess the aim is that Council is aware of and responsive to community concerns so that we can shape a future for Bayside that reflects community aspirations and meets local needs. The strategy also includes a statement of commitment, and that reads, Council will engage the community in an inclusive, transparent and accountable way to make fair and equitable decisions that reflect the needs of the community. The key objectives detailed in the strategy will ensure that engagement is effective, transparent and accountable, genuine and meaningful, reflective of our diverse community, and accessible and inclusive. The strategy also talks about our engagement principles. So these principles guide Council's approach to how we engage the community in decision-making processes. I'll quickly run through them with you. So here, Council acknowledges that the community has the right to be involved in decisions that affect them. It is important that we adopt strategies to inform and engage with a representative sample of our diverse community. We will engage early enough for participation to be meaningful with a reasonable time given for the community to provide input. We'll ensure engagement activities are in accessible formats, enable fair and equitable access to participation. We will engage with the clarity around the purpose. It won't just be a check-a-box exercise, and we'll be clear on what the community can and can't influence. Council is committed to building relationships and engage in an honest, open and respectful way that will build strong relationships and trust within the community. Council will use a range of engagement and communication methods that will suit the purpose of the project and reach the relevant stakeholders. And the level of influence the community will have will be appropriate for the nature, complexity and level of impact of the decision being made. Council will provide all the information relating to the matter being considered so that community can participate in an informed and meaningful way, and we will report back on how the community shaped the outcome or decision made. Council will adopt a strategic approach to engagement to avoid duplication of data capture and other inefficiencies. We'll also consider the time of year, cultural days of significance, and other consultations occurring at the time when planning our engagement activities. And we've committed to continue to work to build the capacity and opportunity for each stakeholder to genuinely participate in our engagement activities. All right, here is a timeline of the development of the draft strategy so far. So back in July, we started with undertaking some desktop research, looking at best practice in community engagement, and we also reviewed relevant feedback received from previous engagements undertaken with the community. Then in August, we consulted with the community on the old strategy, asking for feedback on how it can be improved. Then in September, we drafted the new strategy based on this feedback, and now we're out for public exhibition. Public exhibition of this document will close on the 27th of October. Then in November, we will review all feedback received, update the final strategy based on this feedback, and put it to Council for adoption either November or December. I guess it's important to note that in reaching decisions, Council balances a range of factors to ensure that decisions are in the public interest. These factors include strategic priorities as outlined in our corporate plans and related policies, community input, the relevant legislation, applicable policies and guidelines, potential risks to Council and the public, and expert and technical advice. Here we have a model of the decision-making process, which clearly shows that Council has a responsibility to provide feedback to the community on how community input influence the final decision or outcome. And recent engagement with the community has shown us that this is an area that we can prioritise moving forward. Now, here's some information about the Bayside community. So when engaging the community, it is important for Council to have an understanding of our community profile. This helps in designing engagement and selecting the communication methods. It also tells us if we are hearing from a diversity of people that's reflective of the Bayside community. So I'll just quickly go through a key statistics here on the screen. So as you can see, we are a diverse community. Over 50% speak a language other than English at home, and almost 50% were born overseas. The top languages are Mandarin, Greek, Arabic, Cantonese, and Nepalese. 5% of our population need assistance due to disability. 1.5% identify as Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander, and 14% have no home internet connection. Now I'll run through how community has informed the draft strategy so far. So as I mentioned, we reviewed relevant feedback from the customer satisfaction survey conducted back in 2019, which had 603 responses. We also looked at feedback received through engagement undertaken to inform the community strategic plan earlier this year, and the communication survey that was run by the Mayor's Office earlier this year. Specifically to inform the strategy, we also had an online survey hosted on our engagement hub, Have Your Say Bayside. Hard copy surveys were available. We had some pop-up Mayor's mobile offices in each ward of Bayside. We held a few focus groups with young people and older people. We're planning to undertake intercept surveys at the Migrant Information Day event, which is tomorrow. And we have this Talking Bayside webinar as well. So here's just a quick picture of our Have Your Say stall at the Spring Fair that was held in September. So key findings so far, what we've heard from the community include people who are often represented in Council's engagement activities include people under the age of 35, Aboriginal people, people with disability, people from culturally and linguistically diverse populations, and people with low digital literacy and or without internet access at home. Priority areas for action include informing the community of opportunities and appropriate channels to have a say. This was based on feedback that many community members were not aware of where to go to find out about opportunities to have a say and how they can tell us their thoughts. Another priority area for action is to plan so engagement activities are genuine, meaningful, accountable, accessible and inclusive. So we have heard from community that they often feel council engages for the sake of it with no real purpose, or when a decision has already been made, and that it's not genuine and meaningful. So we will work to improve in this area. Another priority area for action is to use a multi-channel format and approach to community engagement opportunities. So this means that to reach our diverse community, we will choose a range of methods and communication channels to make sure we hear from everybody and everyone has an equal opportunity to participate. This also means offering materials in alternative formats, like easy to read English and in hard copy. In the strategy, we've tried to give you some really clear examples of what engagement looks like at Bayside. So just a quick example I've taken from the strategy here. We've got the project type, the engagement level that we'll adopt for that engagement type, what we will do. So this is just a minimum commitment. We will always aim to go above the minimum commitment. How we will do it. So the examples here include a letter to the residents affected, providing information on our Have Your Say page, promoting opportunities via all of Council's communication channels, offering to hold meetings, workshops with key stakeholders, and of course, informing the stakeholders of the final decision and results of the engagement. And then here at the end of the table, we've got our minimum engagement periods. So it says we've got a minimum 2 weeks notification of upcoming engagement, and then 4 weeks for any kind of ongoing online engagement. All right, so the next steps. As I said, the draft strategy is currently on exhibition. You can find this document on Council's Have Your Say page. There are also hard copies at our libraries and customer service centres. The last day to provide feedback on this draft strategy is Thursday, the 27th of October. Following this, we will review all feedback received, update the draft strategy. The final strategy will then be put to Council for adoption by the end of the year. Following this, we'll publish a community engagement summary and roll out the final adopted strategy internally, and we'll support this with training and resources for staff. So for those of you who would like to have a say or have a chat with us about the strategy, you can contact us in the following ways. So here you have our Have Your Say Bayside website address. Then you have Council's engagement phone number and our engagement team email address. So, yep, I invite anyone who has any ideas on how we can improve how we engage the community or would like some more information on the draft strategy just to get in touch. All right. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the rest of your day.